We are a secret operation, hiding in the shadows. Our plan, $5 million in exactly 360 seconds.
We have a 45-year-old male.
Welcome to this video. In this video we are gonna go over the example scene you just have watched. We are gonna go over the cinematography aspect, the sound selection and what impact each sound element has. Now, as you can tell, I categorize the sounds into 4 main categories, which are the primary sounds here in green, the supporter sounds or secondary sounds in yellow, then we have ambient sounds in blue, and then we have special sound effects, which I colored violet or pink right here. So yeah, we have a nice overview. And why I did that is because I wanted to show the importance of sound layering, which is one of the most common mistakes beginner sound designer / filmmakers make when they are approaching their sound design. And when you're just using one sound layer, it often creates not much depth and authenticity. And yeah, it lacks the cinematic aspect that you can achieve when layering multiple sound elements. So yeah, I'd say we'll go over the cinematography aspect first. Just go over really quickly what was the goal. So yeah, the way I approached this edit was that I had the voiceover right here, and to that I edited the footage. So the goal was to start off with fast-paced cuts and then transition to the voiceover part, where I just say some epic words, I guess. Again, fast-paced cuts, words, fast-paced cuts, words. So a dramatic change in between, like calmer parts and energetic parts. And then so the voiceover part is more to get more context on what's happening on screen, etc., and to explain the story later on. So again, I just mentioned here's the voiceover, which I won't go over. So yeah, you already know it. We will start off with the primary sounds right here. So I will just turn on them, and we will watch the scene just with the primary sounds turned on.
We are a secret operation, hiding in the shadows. Our plan, $5 million in exactly 360 seconds.
We have a 45-year-old male.
So yeah, that was the scene with just the primary sounds on. You can tell that just by having these sounds, they are like the primary sounds, so they mimic what's happening on screen. But again, it lacks authenticity, it lacks depth, because we don't include any other sounds that contribute to the overall soundscape. But still, we can. They are necessary and might have been one of the most important sounds, because again, they bring realism to the scene. For example, here in the first scene, when the character is reloading the gun, you can hear it, or putting on the masks here, reloading the gun, or the crowd in anxious. Now what I did here is I I went into the equalizer section because we have in CCTV, and also here's a brown sound because it's not really a, yeah, it is a primary sound for in this scene, but it is not a real sound. It's just to mimic the transition to the CCTV footage. So this is why I incorporated it. If you can hear it, it's like a Konica pop flash charging, and it just should mimic the CCTV turning on, so we can hear it. Also here you can hear the power goes off. And you might have noticed that when we transition from here to here, that the sound from the crowd is, I guess, yeah, it sounds different, and that is because I cut off the low frequencies right here to yeah, to mimic the effect of being in the having the view of the camera. Then we move on further. Yeah, here it's the scream of the man and hitting his own head to hype himself up. Again, we move further. Here's just some texture from the gun. Then what do we have here? We have the engine idle, the door opening. Here we have the primary sound of the bank notes, the bank notes counter machine. And as you can tell, I used an J card, but also an L card, because I transitioned the sound from one scene to another. So it's still hearable here in this scene with an L card. It's called an L card. And yeah, it's just a cool transition and mimics like the feeling of being in the scene. And yeah, also here some texture just for the movement in general here in the car. You can also tell that here, when we are moving on to the secondary sounds, there will be car sound. Yeah, then we move forward again, just standard sounds, I guess, crowd and gun reloading. Also here the flash again, and we move forward. And here, yeah, these are not like when you're selecting sound, you not always have to select the sound that is portrayed on screen. What I mean by that is, you would have to search for a sound man holding up guns, for example, but you won't find any sounds. So what I did is I yeah, got some clothes and metal rustling because of his yeah, build, and you can tell that it mimics the sound of raising the gun, as you might have heard it. Then we move further. Here we have the emergency call. Also, I cut out some of the lower frequencies to yeah, mimic the traffic call.
We have a 45-year-old male.
Just to yeah, bring in some texture. Then again, same goes here, close metal rustling. Then I incorporated some, I made them yellow because they are not realistic sounds, I guess, but they fit the overall primary sound with here pressing in the pin. We go further, again, heavy metal door squeaking. Then here, yeah, mimicking the gears. And as you can tell, I yeah, incorporated some more sounds, but this is just, it's just sounds one-dimensional. This is what I mean with only using one sound layer, and that it doesn't sound that immersive and realistic, and it's just better to incorporate sound layering, but we'll come to that later. So yeah, just moving forward again. Here I just used this same sound, but with a little bit different variations. Then we here have sound layering with two primary sounds. One are the footsteps, and one is the bag sliding on the ground. And then as we move forward to the last sequence, we have here the scream of the character, the car accelerating, and the paper. Also here again, I looked up the sound and I didn't find any paper in the air or something like that, so I use paper crumpling. And it also mimics the sound of paper flying through the air, so maybe we can just listen to the paper sounds. Yeah, so I guess you can get my point, that you don't always have to use the on-screen realistic sound, but get creative and find other sound that might fit the scene. I guess these are the primary sounds. Now let's move on to the secondary sounds, the supporter sounds, and let's just hear what they bring to the table in combination with the primary sounds.
We are a secret operation, hiding in the shadows. Our plan, $5 million in exactly 360 seconds.
We have a 45-year-old male.
Alright, moving on with the secondary sounds. Now you might have noticed that now there's some more texture to the scene, to the soundscape. Again, we have here car sounds, also free sounds layered, just to bring in more texture, bring in more authenticity, and bring in another dimension to the scene. And now the scene feels more authentic. I think if you just have these sounds, so the supporter sounds and the primary sounds or the secondary sounds, then you would have a complete soundscape. But again, just adding the room to ambience and having these special effects just brings in more dynamic, I guess. But I'd say if you have just the secondary sounds combined with the primary sounds and the supporter sounds, then you definitely, this is what I consider as a soundscape, a complete soundscape. So let's see what they bring to the table, I guess. We start off here. You can hear the hum of the TV, really nice sound effect. I will turn off the primary sounds, I forgot this layer. So here we have the transition from the CCTV going off with this glitch impact right here. Also transitioning into the next shot, which is really cool. Yeah, then we move forward. Again, just some close rustling, matching the movement on screen. Yeah, then basically the ticking of the sound, rustling of closes, again TV hum. Yeah, the beeping of the CCTV. Also, what I wanted to say about this beeping sound, it's not a actual beeping sound of any clock, it's an Opel Astra beeping car notification. So we come back to my point that I made earlier. You don't need to always use the realistic sound. It just needs a sound. You just need a sound that fits. And this is what I mean by that. And I guess it kind of works in these situations to mimic. In the real world, it wouldn't make any sound, I guess, but just to visually support this scene with sound, we can use this sound. Yeah, I guess it's a cool feature. So then we move on further. Here we have a cinematic texture. It's just a low rumbling, which like fits the overall theme of being underground and in the safe. So I think it's really, it just makes the scene more epic. Then here we have the supporter sound. So maybe you remember that this scene lacked complexity, but now with these supporter sounds turned on, it just sounds more rich and more immersive. So we can turn these on and listen to the overall soundscape with the secondary sound. Yeah, much more dynamic, much more engaging, and just just has depth to it, richness, which you can't really accomplish with only using one sound layer. Then we move further, yeah, just the beeping of the clock, and here we have the secondary sounds, just the cinematic texture and some more car sounds to add more dynamic to it. We have here the car accelerating, so in combination with the other ones, we can turn the layer on. It just adds more depth to the overall soundscape. Yeah, quick run through the secondary sounds. I think there's self-explanatory, but one of the most important steps in creating cinematic soundscapes. So again, if we would only use primary sounds, the soundscape would lack richness, would lack depth, would lack authenticity. But now with the primary sound turned on, it just yeah, has everything that I just mentioned, and yeah, makes it seem more cinematic. Here we can just quickly go through the room ambience sound. So this is just I guess self-explanatory. When we're in a room, there's always some room noise, some room ambience texture, and this is what I wanted to achieve with this sound. So just overall sounds that are in the background, which isn't really noticeable in the edit itself, but yeah, it just adds another dimension to the soundscape in general. Now let's go over to one of my favorite sound effect elements, which are the special effects. And I think let's just watch the whole scene with just the special sound effects.
We are a secret operation, hiding in the shadows. Our plan, $5 million in exactly 360 seconds.
Yeah, they add dynamic to the scene, and this is why I love them. They also bring in some more engaging transitions, and yeah, they make the edit more impactful. So let's quickly go over them. Yeah, this dark atmosphere sound just makes the whole soundscape more immersive and brings in an element which you can't accomplish with any other sound. We can just quickly listen to them because I will then turn it off. It also contributes to the tension that is built up with the other sound effects. And yeah, let's now quickly go through the special sound effects. So we start off with an impactful metallic crash, introducing a scene, building up tension to the first voice-over overlay, here with a riser sound and transitioning it with a whoosh sound. And then after the voice-over ended, we transition to a new scene with fast-paced cuts, and we introduce it with an impact sound, which just makes this transition extremely powerful, in my opinion. Yeah, crazy. The whoosh sound replicates the movement of the character when he's turning. Again, another impact sound when the voiceover ends. Here I wanted to emphasize the money footage, and I also wanted to add more texture to the money counter machine when we combine it with the primary sound. I guess it sounds really cool. Yes. Then we move further. Again, another a whoosh sound I used for transitioning to the clock, and then another impact sound to yeah, get started with the main content, I guess. Transition into the footage. Impact sound. Here I used the whoosh sound to emphasize this movement on screen. Yeah, and then we move forward. Here I used a cinematic riser to emphasize the opening. So is everything going right? Is everything going, or maybe it goes wrong? Building anticipation for the viewer. And then finally they open the safe, and I used a whoosh sound to emphasize the change. Also, what you at this point, you can hear the long riser sound, which builds is like 20 seconds or something. I will check it. Yeah, about 22 seconds, which yeah, is from half of the sequence hearable, and it just builds constant tension and anticipation for the viewer. So it's a really nice element. And then it's just yeah, basic stuff, introducing scenes with a impact sound, emphasizing the movement, camera movement with the whoosh sound. Here I also used every time the same impact sounds because I wanted to bring in some consistency. But what I did is for some sounds I decreased the semitones to bring in some variation, but I just don't wanted to use a different impact sounds for each scene because it would distract the viewer. So I decided to just yeah, change the semitone, as you can tell right here, to bring in some variation. And then at the end, finally, we have the reveal, ending the scene here with an impact sound. The riser sound turns off, fades away, and we have the, I guess, happy ending for the secret operation. So yeah, these special sound effects really add another element of engagement to the overall soundscape, make it more impactful, bringing some unrealistic themes to it, but just make the overall soundscape much more engaging and supporting other sound effects that maybe need some assistance, I guess, and yeah, making the visuals appear more realistic. So yeah, this was the sound design breakdown of the rubber bee sequence that we just analyzed, and went over the cinematography aspect, the sound selection, and the impact each sound element has on the overall soundscape. Again, what I just wanted to say is that only using one sound layer lacks in complexity. In general, there are some scenarios where only using one sound layer is totally fine, but again, in most of the time, using multiple sound layers. In this case, we used 20 sound layers to get our message across, and yeah, it just makes the whole sequence sound and feel more cinematic. So that is it. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video.